Hi Big Tractor Power fans, this video comes to you from a western Kentucky field where a John Deere 9330 four-wheel drive tractor is harvesting corn for silage with a New Holland FP240 pull-type forage harvester and United Farm Tools 4205 dump wagon. We're going to spend time in the field seeing and hearing this machinery at work. We'll talk about the tractor specifications. We'll climb up in the cab and get the operator's view of chopping corn with a large tractor like this. But I know that the number one question, as soon as you're seeing the thumbnail for this video and tuning in to see this big tractor rolling across the field chopping corn, you're going to ask, why are they using this big tractor? Why aren't they using a row crop tractor? And that's exactly what we're going to talk about first. The farm that this articulated John Deere tractor and New Holland forage harvester are working on is a grain and dairy farm. The farm uses large four-wheel drive tractors for a majority of the work on the grain side of the operation, but relies on smaller tractors for the dairy herd. These range from 105 to 150 horsepower. The New Holland FP240 pull-type forage harvester has a minimum PTO horsepower requirement of 180 and a maximum range of 300 horsepower. It takes a lot of horsepower to pull a chopper through standing corn to process it into silage. This corn is over 12 feet tall and is being harvested 3 rows at a time, being chopped up into small chips to become feed for dairy cows. The farm is processing anywhere from 22 to 25 tons per acre. The tractors on the dairy side of the operation simply don't have the required PTO horsepower or engine horsepower to properly operate the pull-type forage harvester. They're better suited for feeding the cows and doing smaller jobs in the field, such as baling. Tractors are a major investment for any farming operation. Even the smaller utility-sized tractors can cost anywhere from $100,000 to $200,000. This 320 PTO horsepower John Deere 9330 tractor is well utilized on the farm year-round on the grain side of the operation. With its PTO, it's a perfect match for powering the forage harvester during the corn chopping season. The broad acres of the grain side of this farming operation include 3 major crops: corn, winter wheat, and a second crop of soybeans that is planted over all the winter wheat acres directly after the crop is harvested. These crops require high horsepower tractors to enter the fields to till them, plant them, and harvest them in a timely manner. This farm relies on John Deere articulated four-wheel drive tractors from 375 to 410 engine horsepower. Tractors in this horsepower range are a major investment and can run anywhere from $350,000 to $450,000. This farm utilizes their four-wheel drive tractors in every step of the growing season on the grain side of things. They're used for tillage, planting, and grain carting during harvest. Let's head out to the field so you can see and hear how these tractors are used on the farm. As you can see, the John Deere 9330 and the 9410R four-wheel drive tractors are well utilized by the farm in their grain operation throughout the year. The New Holland FP240 pull-type forage harvester will chop about 150 acres of corn per year. Beyond that, a farm might want to start looking at a self-propelled forage harvester to get the corn acres processed and put away for the dairy cow feed. Because the farm is not chopping that many acres of corn silage each year, it doesn't really make sense to invest the money in a high horsepower row crop tractor. Those machines will range anywhere from the high 200,000s all the way up to over $400,000. The farm is well suited to use their utility tractors on the dairy side of the operation to support the cows, and then use the high horsepower four-wheel drive tractors to cover the row crop and grain acres. When it comes to forage harvesting, it simply makes sense to use that 9330 four-wheel drive tractor's PTO to power the forage harvester for about a week a year to chop the corn and then put it right back to work on the grain side of the farm. Even though it may be surprising for some viewers to see an articulated tractor like the John Deere 9330 being used to run a pull-type forage harvester, this used to be a very common way in the 1970s and 1980s to chop corn. Back then, four-wheel drive tractors were gaining popularity and farmers were using them year-round, including to process their corn silage. When I was growing up in western New York State, it was very common to see tractors like this Case 2470 out in the field chopping corn. The machine could also be used to plow, disc, and run a manure spreader. They were a perfect machine on a dairy farm. By the 1980s, four-wheel drive tractors were really taking off and farm equipment manufacturers were building pull-type forage harvesters to utilize 300 to 400 horsepower tractors. Sperry, New Holland introduced the Model 1600 pull-type forage harvester, which was built specifically for four-wheel drive power. This machine had the same specifications as a self-propelled Model 1900. It was capable of harvesting up to 4 rows of corn. John Deere also jumped in on the four-wheel drive powered pull-type chopper action with a Model 4720, which was also capable of harvesting 4 rows of corn at a time. Now that we've looked at the reason this John Deere 9330 is chopping corn, let's head out to the field so you can see and hear this forage harvesting operation. When the United Farm Tools 4205 dump wagon is nearly full of corn silage, the farmer will flip on the amber strobe light mounted on top of the tractor's cab. Normally this light is used during road transportation to make sure the tractor is visible headed down the road, but out in the field, the farmer is using the light to signal the waiting semi-truck that it's time to unload the corn silage. As we wait for the truck to pull into position, you might have noticed a yellow tank mounted on the side of the UFT 4205 dump wagon. This yellow tank holds a preservative that is applied to the corn silage as it's being chopped. It helps keep the corn from spoiling when it's wrapped up in a bag to ferment to become feed for the dairy cows. Now that we've spent some time out in the field on the ground seeing and hearing this forage harvesting operation, let's climb up in the cab of the John Deere 9330 to see the farmer's perspective of operating this big tractor while chopping corn. Come on by right along. Thanks.
You doing okay?
Doing well. How are you today?
Yes, sir. Doing well. Good deal. Yeah, he can get that tri-axle and throw a load on it if he wants to.
As the 9330 rolls across the field at 4 miles per hour, let's take a moment to talk about its specifications and production history. It was manufactured by John Deere at its Waterloo, Iowa tractor factory from 2007 through 2011. It's powered by a 13.5 liter, 826 cubic inch engine rated at 375 engine horsepower and 320 PTO horsepower. PTO is power takeoff, and that is what's powering the forage harvester. The 9330 was available with 2 different transmissions. The first was the John Deere Power Sync with 24 forward and 6 reverse speeds. The second is a full power shift, which this 9330 is equipped with, and it has 18 forward and 6 reverse speeds. The tractor is equipped with a 350-gallon diesel fuel tank and came out of the factory weighing around 31,000 pounds and could be field weighted up to just over 37,000 pounds. I hope that you've enjoyed seeing the farmer's perspective of running a pull-type chopper with a John Deere 9330, and as we wind down our time up here in the cab of the tractor, I wanted to give you the farmer's perspective of opening up a new section of the field with the tractor and pull-type chopper. When the farm plants its corn crop, it leaves gaps between the passes of corn so that there's room for the tractor to open up that new section without trampling down standing plants of corn. I hope that you've enjoyed seeing and hearing, as well as riding up in the cab of this John Deere 9330 four-wheel drive tractor, chopping corn silage with the New Holland FP240 Forage harvester in western Kentucky. If you'd like to see more videos like this one, I hope that you'll consider subscribing to Big Tractor Power YouTube, where there are over 1,000 videos of farm machines in action. If you have any questions or thoughts about this video, please leave them in the comment section below, as I try to respond to every post that is made. If you would like to get a preview of what is coming up next on Big Tractor Power YouTube, I hope that you'll check out Big Tractor Power Instagram, where I share pictures and short video clips of what is currently being filmed in the field. As always, thank you for watching.